Back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast, and it is provided to you by, how are we already losing shit? It is provided to you by, first and foremost, BTOWN CBD, our friends, now that our set's not falling apart anymore, friends over at BTOWN CBD is bringing us all the CBD healing. I've put most of it away. Check these out, guys, for the YouTubers that can see. Got these new gummies coming out. They're going to be, I can tell you they're really effective for the medicinal effects as far as feeling super relaxed. You do kind of taste some of the herb in this one. It doesn't bother me. I like it. Guys, remember, when things work, it's the old school remedy of like with regular medicine. If it doesn't taste the best, which those gummies still taste good, I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying, when you can taste what it is supposed to do, which is work, you're going to taste a little bit of the medicine in there. So you taste the herb, but again, I like the taste of herb. It doesn't bother me, and it's really, really medicinal. Guys, go over to BTOWN CBD, check them out, and Busy Baby Mat. Man, oh man, let me tell you, I have almost a 7-month-old, right? And my 7-month-old is just at the stage in life where she can, pick things up. She can acknowledge her binky, pick it up. She, again, usually throws it, or she'll do something of that sort, throwing it or tossing it or just dropping it. And for the Busy Baby Mat, I put it either on the edge of the table. We just went out to eat for Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Went out, I'm trying to slow down. I feel like I'm talking so fast. We went out for Mother's Day, and we were so worried that her toys were going to fall. Nope. Busy Baby Mat, suction cups right to where she's sitting. She's got toys sitting right there. Guys, Busy Baby Mat is doing their thing. They're super cheap, guys. So they're amazing as baby shower gifts. They're even, I'm going to fix my posture here. They're amazing as just, honestly, if you have someone that you know that has a kid, just get them something cool like that, man. I promise you they'll use it, and it's really, really useful. I think they're like 24 bucks. Guys, honestly, it's nice. Tell them I sent you, and I'm sure they'll help you out and everything else. It's amazing, and I'm so happy and so grateful that they sponsor this show and make this show possible for us. This is going to be the second one that they've done for us, and they've signed on to work with us for 3 months, so we're excited to further get to know them and their product and see how it advances, and we'll talk about that more. So, in this episode, it's the first time I'm back in the studio by myself, right? It's been quite a while. I had Mo and Tyler on, then I had Nate. We had an episode that got lost there in the middle, and then there was a few video episodes that got lost there in the middle just because of kind of where I've been in life lately, and I'm going to talk about all that. We're going to get caught up, and yeah. So right now, thank you guys so much for getting through the ads. Please go support these guys, and that'll be the last time I talk about ads now. And once the actual podcast starts here in just a second after the intro, I'll try to let that be the last time that I bring up any advertisements or anything like that. I love you guys. I'm so stoked to be back. I think we're back in a really good place. We're going to talk about it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Happy Monday morning. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Here we go. Road to Redemption podcast. Check it out.
Keep following your life stories and your wonderful pictures. Always so artistic, and your motivating life stories. I just love it, love it, love it, love it.
I also think that there should be a road to redemption.
Redemption. We got a redemption here. This is a nice shout out.
Looks like we're all mic'd up, and now we got to make sure that the damn camera's in frame. This is a great start to the brand new version of the Road to Redemption podcast, where Kim's apparently got his shit together, huh? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the Road to Redemption podcast. As always, it's your boy Cam wearing this bitch. What's up, dude? Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Good to see you guys. Man, I feel like it's been so long just since I've been in this studio by myself, flowing on my own, which was kind of cool because the last couple I did by myself, there's 2 episodes. I think the audio did end up going up. That's so crazy that I don't even know that. As much as I love this podcast and as much as I put in, like, I've lost, I feel like, the last 6 episodes. I feel like this podcast has been so weird over the last 2 months. Like, it's just been so strange. As I was coming in here by myself, I was coming in with not a lot to say. So I tried to get some interviews in. We had Nate come on, and I'm so appreciative for Nate to come in. Tried something else out where I tried to hire a producer. You guys saw there was some different angles. If you guys watched the Nate video on YouTube, it looks like a few of you did. There was like 30 some of you guys that went over there to watch that. It was kind of cool. You got to watch the fight with Nate if you're into that kind of thing. But yeah, we hired a producer for that one, and it was interesting. It taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about podcasting, and it also gave me a new perspective on what I wanted my podcast to be. You learn really fast what your vision is for something when you have someone else in there with you trying to help you create said vision. As you see, like the way that the studio looks right now, this was a brainchild of me and that producer. Now I still like it. I like the way it looks. That's why I left it. But it was like there were at times, and it could have been an ego thing as well. I'm trying to sit up. I'm trying to correct my posture. I apologize if you guys hear me cracking around. There were times I felt it was for sure an ego thing where he would recommend something, and at first I'm like, that's a dope idea, but because I didn't come up with it and it wasn't my thing, it wasn't my vision, I immediately wanted to hit the brakes. Luckily, I kind of let the things flow as they did, and I think I gained a lot from really working with him, so I'm appreciative that he came out. But again, I think I realized really what it is, what this show is, what it needs to be. Occasionally we're going to do guests, but I think now I'm more in touch with what this show is than I ever have been. I'm more in touch with myself than I think I ever have been. Over these last couple weeks, I don't know if you guys have been listening. I really couldn't even tell you what's been on the podcast a whole lot. My life has been so crazy recently, but now it's finally started to slow down. And it's in a really good place, but we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to catch up on. So let's jump right into it. With me, what's been my main focus this last couple weeks was getting recentered, right? Getting refocused. I had lost all focus coming in here. That's why I had nothing to say, because I wasn't doing anything. I was creating hours and hours of content. I was making CBD review videos, and I was making Instagram videos, and I was making podcasts, audio and video, and I was helping other people with their podcasts, and I've got CBD gigs that I'm doing, and I've got all my 9 to 5, my family. I've got a lot of shit that I was doing. So I was getting to a point where I was doing so much that when I was doing those things, I was so locked in and I had to focus. Because if I didn't give it my 100%, it was unacceptable, which is a good thing. But when you're doing things that diligently and that solid focus, like when I'm with my family, I'm with my family, I'm not worried about creating content. So later when I come back and now it's podcast time and I have content to create, I'm not really able to talk about that moment the way that it happened because I'm trying so hard to just be in that moment with my family. Where before I was kind of half in the moment, half thinking about how to create content, and I realized that my family was really suffering because I was always half in, half out. While my daughter was doing something, I was usually on my phone, which is cool because I can get to my camera faster, but I'm living my daughter's first moments through a camera lens, which is what a lot of artists accuse fans of doing. They're like, you guys pay all this money to come see me, but then you watch me through a lens. Well, you could have done that when the video of this comes out on YouTube. Why did you pay this money and then watch me through a lens? I don't want to watch my family through a lens. I don't want to watch my journey through a lens, which is what I was doing. I was spending more time creating content and then going back and reviewing the content to make sure that it was good. I was going back and watching my own life. So it's like, what am I talking about? What do I have to talk about if the content that I'm consuming my own time with is me? And it's my life. That's great. But what I do and the way that this podcast works is I kind of send my trials and tribulations and my life lessons out there. You guys help me. And then when you send them in, I try to help back out. So it's all really thinking out loud kind of stuff. You can't think out loud to yourself. That is pointless. Then you're just thinking out loud, what's the point of the mic? So, again, I feel like now I've got more vision. Again, I've found that I had gotten into a really bad routine. I counted it up, and when I was making videos, from starting to set everything up to the time the video was completely uploaded, it was somewhere around 12 hours with editing and recording and the actual physical act of doing this, of of doing a podcast and then uploading and buffering and all that kind of shit takes about 12 hours. Every time I was uploading a video, I was sitting there smoking my CBD, whatever, and I'm chilling. Well, then, about a couple weeks ago, I realized, well, the CBD's not doing a whole lot anymore, and I had to really check myself, because this, as an addict, as an alcoholic, is very important. You know, I always want to watch, especially even with CBD. I want to watch to make sure that I'm not getting addicted to substances again and I'm not using them too much. So I checked myself and I was like, okay, I bought what I thought should have been enough for a month. It didn't last me a month. What's going on? Well, I realized about a week ago it stopped working because every time I was sitting at my computer, I was smoking. Well, I was sitting at my computer for about 10 hours a week, relatively. I mean, overall. Working on all the content that I was working on. 2 hours really for each video. I'm making about 4 or 5 videos a week. So I was at my computer for about 10 hours smoking the whole time. You're going to build a tolerance up even though there's no THC in there. Eventually, CBD, same thing. It's going to go, hey dude, we're good. You know, we don't need it anymore. So it was more just, it's like when you take a random multivitamin to kind of make an expensive piss. It's what I was doing. I was wasting it, and I'm not getting the effects, so now I'm getting stressed out again. I got really down in the middle of the week. Some of you guys might have seen that on Instagram. And I got really down. I gave myself a night to go, alright, look, what the fuck? What are we doing here? Like, you haven't been to the gym in probably 3 months. You love Muay Thai and kickboxing. It's all you think about. But you stop doing anything because you're beating yourself up because you started jiu-jitsu, realized it's not really your thing, you like striking more, and you decided to stop doing that, but now you're so worried about what the public persona thinks because now you don't post about jiu-jitsu anymore. You're giving yourself too much stardom where you think people really give a fuck. Yeah, for sure. People have noticed that you stopped doing jiu-jitsu because you're kind of known sometimes as the guy that starts things and doesn't finish them. Well, that has sort of been my MO, but guys, I can tell you, I try things so often because I don't ever want to die saying, I wish I would have done this. So like with stand-up comedy, I love stand-up comedy. I've done it before. I got up on stage and I've done stand-up before. Because it was a dream of mine to say I could do it, so I did it. That doesn't mean I put in the hard work and the effort that it takes to become a professional stand-up comedian. Would I love to? Yeah. Yeah, if that was the way that, if my life, which is sort of a part of the plan here, is to take this Road to Redemption podcast on the road, and then a part of that is going to be doing stand-up, but just in podcast form. It's kind of what I'm looking to do live shows in comedy clubs, because I hope that sometimes this podcast is actually funny. And then in that too, we're going to talk about MMA. Like I watched the fights last night with my wife. It was the first time she actually had a blast watching the fights with me. And I was going to ask you guys what you thought. Would you rather me talk about the fights on here? Do you guys like that? Or do you want me to create a separate podcast, which is just Cam Talks MMA? That's that podcast, and I leave it off of here. You guys let me know. It's not hard, really, to create another podcast. So I can do that if you guys, if the large majority of you just don't care. It is my show, so I do like to talk about it. I would like to. But again, if that's just not what this audience wants, I have no problem in putting my efforts in a more channeled version, so that way when you guys come here, you're getting what you want. So we'll talk about a little bit of that. So let's talk about the fights, but I'll try to keep it not so much about fighting, so don't skip forward just yet. The fights, it was kind of a weird night for the UFC because it was a whole lot of older guys who really probably should not be fighting anymore, and they still are. Like BJ Penn fought Clay Guida, two older gentlemen. BJ Penn got mauled. It was unfortunate to watch. Anderson Silva got hurt by a younger guy than him, but still not a really young guy. Volkanovski fought Jose Aldo. Volkanovski destroyed Aldo. It was just like all these old guys just got rocked. And then the champ comes in, Rose Namajunas. She had been saying all week like she felt kind of funny. They were really drawing the attention to the fact that she's an emotional person, an emotional fighter. She cries after a lot of her stuff. Comes out, Rose is tearing her apart. I mean, Rose is just picking picking Jessica Andrade, just picking her apart, and all of a sudden Jessica Andrade picks Rose Namajunas up, and I mean perfectly slammed her on her neck to where she slammed her where when Rose's neck landed, she landed at a 90-degree angle. My wife and I both jumped up, not even worried about the noise we were making because the baby was sleeping. I was like, oh my God, she broke her fucking neck. She broke her fucking neck. I stand up and I'm looking, and Rose is out. I mean, all you see is Rose is down like this, and Jessica Andrade just won, even though she was getting pieced up the whole fight. My wife and I obviously pulling for Rose. Fight stops. I'm like, oh my gosh. Not to mention I put some money on it from the free play I had with my bookie. I was like, fuck it, I got $25. I put it on kind of a parlay for BJ Penn to beat Clay Guida. Didn't happen. It was a huge underdog. And then for Rose Namajunas to beat Jessica Andrade. I didn't think that was that big of an underdog, and I still stick with that. I think if they run it back, I think Rose is going to piece her up again. But the thing is, Rose said at the end of the fight, she's like, I don't know if I want to do this shit anymore. I'm still trying to figure out, like, do I want to be a fighter? I did this. I proved it to myself. She started the fight saying, I'm grateful I got rid of the belt because now it, it releases that pressure off of me. A lot of the people in MMA didn't like that. They were like, dude, you're the champ. You should be pissed you fucking lost your belt. And like halfway, you can see it as her first interview of the night after the fight started. That was kind of her MO, was I'm glad I lost the belt. It was a burden. And then towards the end, after she said, hey, I think this might be my last fight, towards the end of her leaving that night, she was more towards like, that's my fucking belt. I want my belt back. So I think, again, they talked about how Rose is a very emotional fighter. I think that was just emotional for her. I think she knew she was fucking her up. To get done like that over a simple mistake. Me, I love MMA, and I'm trying so hard to make it a life journey of mine to learn different forms of MMA, even if I don't participate in them. Whatever happened in that ground exchange, I don't really know. I know it was how Rose held on to Jessica Andrade that kind of got her screwed the way that it did. I don't know exactly the setup and the breakdown of how Rose went from being on the ground to on her neck like that. That just shows my lack of grappling experience. That's not me. Maybe next week I think we're supposed to have one of the Muay Thai champions of the world, Kevin Ross, is supposed to be on the podcast next week. That would be dope. Maybe he could explain it if he's done a whole lot of grappling. I would ask Nate, but talking technique's not really Nate's thing. He's definitely a showman. So yeah, we did that. The UFC thing has been really cool, and then today, so Mother's Day, has been great. And I would like to just admit something. I would like to make it something acceptable for us all to socially come out and admit if we're gonna do things only because they're socially acceptable to do, such as Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Father's Day, whatever. They're socially obligated hallmark holidays that really you should be showing your mothers that you love them, and obviously we know these things. Can we all just admit that we're signing the card that we're giving you the day that we give it to you? Like probably right before we give it to you, some of us, most of us, in the car ride on the way there, Christmas, birthday, don't make a difference, dog. If I got you a card, I'm signing that joint on the way there. I probably just got it on the way there because I fucking forgot. That's why you got a gift card. Like, now, I tried not to do that for my family, obviously, but I think me and a whole other group of dudes is standing there, and there were some women too, because obviously they're getting, and that just proves it. It's not just guys, because there were women there getting cards for their mothers, and we're all standing there. This lady literally in the line at Kroger scans the card, signs it, puts it in the envelope, licks it, writes the lady's name, puts it in the bag. She's done with it. It's over. Guys, we're all signing cards the day that we get them, right? It's just fair enough to say. I hope you guys all had a fantastic Mother's Day. It's been kind of cool. I still have yet to I have to go make dinner for my mother. Or, not my mother, my wife. My mother's not here. And I wanted to talk about something that I thought was pretty neat. So I was listening to, it was actually just a local radio. It was a local radio show. And they were talking about this local soccer team, I believe it was, like a travel soccer team. A lot of the parents were upset because they pay a lot of money. I guess these are pretty elite athletes, and in the high school, middle school age, something like that, these kids travel all over Tennessee and even out of the other states to go play soccer. So obviously they've tried out they've made it to an elite status in soccer as much as you can in middle school and high school. And they were talking about how they give participation trophies out at the end of this tournament. A lot of these parents were pissed. Hey, I pay a lot of money. When my kid's the fucking champ, I want them to be the champ. And they're whatever the association is, or whoever runs the soccer organization, was like, no, don't get it twisted. You get a big trophy for being the champ, but for being here, you get a trophy that says, hey, you participated in this. Parents are up in arms about it. There's participation, that's why motherfuckers are soft. And I'm like, okay, can we time out real quick? So anytime there's, now again, 27 years old, military veteran, military police veteran, husband, father, single straight male, 2 daughters. I'm as straight as they come. But I do not, for the life of me, I cannot understand why in the world, let me see what hold on, give me 1 second. My phone's going off, I always have to make sure. I cannot understand why we get so upset, and I always have to check, like, alpha male bullshit. This is an alpha male thing that just is dumb. When people talk about, like, toxic masculinity, I think most of that is horseshit, except for stuff like this. When we say simple things such as, God bless it, my phone. I'm sorry, guys, my phone keeps going off. Let me see. Such as we get so upset over the fact that a kid, right? Let's break it down to what it is. We as alpha men, it's mainly men that start this kind of bullshit. And again, this is not a war on dudes. I'm a 27-year-old dude, been on test for over a year now. I would like to think I'm a pretty masculine person, but I don't have this infatuation with when my kids get into athletics that if they don't win the championship, that they get a participation trophy for being there. Because here's my thought behind it. When you go to, I live in Tennessee, let's just use it as, okay, perfect example. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. What's the biggest thing that comes out of Columbus, Ohio? OHIO, the Ohio State Buckeyes. What do most people in Columbus, Ohio own? An Ohio State jersey. Did most of them play for the University of Ohio State? No. So what are you wearing? You're wearing your participation trophy actually in something you didn't participate in. You didn't play collegiate football for the University of Ohio State. For the Ohio State University. You didn't play football. So why are you wearing a jersey? Because you're trying to participate in the event that's happening on Saturday. Guess what? Your 4-year-old is actually participating. They're still on the field. You stopped participating 30 years ago in high school when you stopped playing football in high school. You're wearing a participation trophy. Every single time that one of us goes out and we go to the gym and we wear a pair of leggings or a t-shirt because our favorite fitness ambassador wears that shirt, you're wearing a participation trophy. You are showing the leggings off just like a kid would show off a little trophy that they got for playing a game. You're wearing the leggings, walking into a gym going, look, I fit in here. I get to participate here. That's your participation trophy. That's what keeps you going to keep you in the gym, is that you look good in those leggings or the cutoff shirt or whatever kind of shit we're wearing nowadays, right? So as macho men, can we just admit that it's not a bad thing for children to get recognized for participating in sports? It's not that they're not being acknowledged because they lost. That would be ridiculous. Hey, you lost. Good job. That makes no sense. But hey, you showed up today. You tried your best. You did everything you could. Now, if a kid didn't do everything they could and they were lazy or they were playing with grass and they were unfocused, if it's age appropriate, have the conversation, but That's called parenting. A lot of us don't want to fucking parent now because guess what? Sometimes it can be annoying to try to explain to a child that doesn't understand why you can't say these things, why you shouldn't do these things on an athletic field. Having to explain teamwork to a child. That's what you do as a parent. You help them through life. So guess what? Stop putting it off on a coach because your kid didn't win a championship, but yet you spent 30 extra hours at the office and never kicked a ball around with them one time. That's usually the problem. We either spend most of our time fucking deployed, at the office, in a garage, doing whatever, filming a podcast. I can't tell you how many things I've missed in my kid's life for this podcast. Now, I love it. I mean, this podcast helps provide for them. So, I mean, it is what it is. Everybody understands, but it's like, dude, let's be real with it. I want all the... We keep trying to overcorrect stuff. Everything that you're seeing right now, like, as always, they're saying that they're going to take Trump down and whatever, and I'm not going to talk politics. I'm going to take it in another direction. But they're going to take Trump down because they finally, I guess, maybe they got his taxes. I don't know. I'm not going to scroll through Twitter. I don't give a shit that much. They got something on him, and just like when the Mueller investigation came out, they said they were going to nail him. Look, can I have some breaking news? You guys heard it here first on the Road to Redemption podcast. Trump did not cause the problems in America. The problems that are going out right now, Trump did not cause them. The fact that black people, white people, gays, straights, transgenders, bis, queer, bi-curious, zazer, because all these people can't get along, that's not President Trump's fault. It's people's fault. You're choosing to listen to unreliable sources. Here's one thing I would like you guys to all practice in the next week. Wherever you get your news source from, be it Twitter, be it whatever, Facebook. If you're watching the news on TV like I do at work, right, I generally watch Fox News because that's what my boss likes to have on. So because of that, I realized what's happening, right? I'm getting a pretty biased, one-side look at the story. I've been watching Fox News for the past year, and my beliefs match up pretty well. As a conservative, there's a few things I really don't agree with, but, you know, those are my personal beliefs, and it is what it is, but I guess you would consider me a pretty conservative guy, even though I don't put myself as a Republican or a conservative. I have guns. I live in a southern state. I came from the Midwest. I'm a I'm a married white man, straight white man from Tennessee. I mean, I'm saying pretty conservative, but I think that gay people should get married. If you want to be a transgender human being, if I'm allowed to call you that, if you want to be that, fine. I love you either way, as long as you don't try to impose anything on me or my family. Don't give a fuck. If you're not a threat to me or my family, whether you're black, white, gay, straight, transgender, I don't care. I mean, typically I'm the type of person that, like, if an animal comes into my house, I'm not going to try to kill it. As long as it's not trying to hurt us, I'll try to just get it out of the house. Or I'll, do whatever. Maybe it could be a stray dog and now it's a family. I'm saying, you don't judge things by its cover. I can say that the most roundabout way possible, like I just tried to do with the animal analogy. Just don't judge people. Like, just don't be a fucking asshole. It's really not that difficult, I don't think. When you look at a human being, if something about them just pisses you off, guess what? That's your problem. That's not their problem. Who they lay their head down next to at night doesn't determine that. When you stare at somebody at a cafe and they just bother you to your core, and you don't know this person, you've never met them, you don't know anything about them, guess what? It's not their problem. That's your problem. You need to go figure out why that is. Is it because it's a man that dresses a little feminine? Well, what is your real problem with that? Is it that you didn't have a male figure in your life, so you don't like to watch men try to change their masculinity because you didn't have a male father figure? Or is it that you're a shit father figure, so you don't want to watch another man actually throw away being a good male figure to potential children? I mean, your own psychological mix-up is not that other person's problem, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. So, I still believe that most of us here in America don't really think that way. We don't really feel that way. That we don't have issues because of the color of people's skin or because of who they choose to lay next to. Because guess what? Even that wouldn't make sense. But I was going to say, like, unless you're a roommate with somebody, like you share a house, you rent out a room and they rent out another, and it's a transgender couple who's hooking up in the other room and it just doesn't make sense to you, well, that would be your fault for taking that room in the first place. But here's the other room or idea: mind your fucking business in your own room. You're renting a room, dog. That's their room. Let them do. I mean, if you're that uncomfortable, again, that's your problem. But again, that would be weird for you to put your own self in that situation. Besides that, you're divided by multiple walls and rooms. Everybody's pretty comfortable, has the privacy still to do what we want to do with who we choose to do it with. I just don't understand what the hoopla is all about. I think that everything that I've seen, now here's what I was saying about watching Fox News. I decided that for like a week and a half, I was only going to pay attention to CNN. So I only turned CNN things on my phone. I was watching, if I got news, that's where I got it that wasn't entertainment related, like YouTube or something like that. So I looked and I was like, okay, yeah, most of this stuff makes sense. I mean, they were talking about the border wall and they were showing images of kids being like almost dragged away from parents at the wall to be put in these camps, and sick kids laying in little dirty hospital beds that you could tell it looked like it was in some sort of southern border type area. And you're watching this and you're like, yeah, no, I get it. I get how people would be pissed off to imagine that. If that's what you saw on your 11 o'clock news at night and then laid your head down and tried to sleep, I'd have a real fucking problem with that too. But why? I'm a human being. That's fucked up. But here's what you don't understand. Most of the time, go back and watch it with Nate. Find this little clip. I don't know the timing, but you'll see it a lot. It's editing. Most of the people you see on CNN and Fox News, when you watch the little clips they play, they're not real. That's not from really people at the border. That's from somebody in something else. It's not real. They're just showing you things that look like it so that way you feel so emotionally connected. Now again, I saw Fox News do the same thing with the border thing. They were saying a militia of, I guess, well, they're not immigrants because they were on the Mexican side of the wall, were throwing rocks over the border and were hitting Border Patrol agents. And they called it a militia of people on Fox News. But on this camera, on the camera view that you have, it's dark. It's either really late at night, right as the sun's setting, or it's really early in the morning right before it comes up. You can barely see it coming over the top. These guys, you can see at least 2 or 3 of them hucking rocks over the top, and there's kids. They've got women and children down front, so that way the Border Patrol from the Americans won't throw tear gas and shit like that, because they're thinking they won't throw them at the kids. They were. Which to me, that again, you as a man let a woman and a child go down in front of you and had the potential to get tear gassed, you're not a man. You're a fucking coward in my book. But anyway, they span out and they show this, right? It's those 3 guys, or 3 or 4, however many there were. There was that. It's not a militia. There was 3 assholes throwing rocks who convinced their wives, mothers, and babies to go out first so they could say that they caused some sort of riot at the border. It's like 4 guys. It's not a thing. It's, again, news cameras showed up because it's a slow time in the news, guys. There's not much really going on. Everybody's mad about shit that people are creating, news is creating. There's not really a lot going on. So, I tell you that, I release you. Go, live your lives. It's okay. President Trump's going to win or he's not. The next person's going to come in or they won't. And they'll change things or they won't. And things will be just fine. You're gonna wake up tomorrow and have every single possibility that you would have had no matter who the president is. Right? So whatever happens tomorrow is going to happen. You can only do the most with what possibilities you're given on any given day. Figure that out when you wake up tomorrow. Do what you can today with the possibilities you have today. If you don't have them, make them. If you don't have the opportunity to do them where you are, move. It's that simple. It's honestly just that simple. There doesn't need to be some divine intervention, law of attraction type shit with it. When things don't work, change what's happening. I know how corny and cliche that sounds, but guess what? When shit stopped working, I had to stop and go, I'm fucking up. I'm fucking up. So now, like what I was telling you, I thought I was using cannabis too much. I thought it was a problem. I stopped for a few days or whatever, and I said, okay, here's my new rule. I have to earn it. I have to earn sitting down and getting the relief from CBD, because right now I'm not getting it, and I'm bummed out like hell, and I can't figure out what's going on. I said I have to earn it. Starting Monday morning, if I don't get up in the morning and either ride on the Peloton bike or go do Muay Thai, I don't get smoked before work. So guess what? I got up, I went to Muay Thai. And then, after Muay Thai, I got on the bike. So I did both things. Then when I sat down, look, when I smoke, it worked. My soreness relieved, my anxiety relieved, I felt good, I felt better. I only maybe had to hit it once or twice, and I was done. Because I was nice and satisfied, mind, body, spirit satisfied. Went and took a shower, turned some music on, jammed out, had a great morning, kissed my wife a little longer, held my baby a little sweeter because it was a beautiful morning. Guess what? If I close a side business deal, by the time lunch comes around, at lunch, hey, maybe I can have a hit while I'm at lunch. Guess what? I close one, come home, hit it, go back to lunch, happier than a fucking clam, dude. My energy's up here. I'm riding. I'm killing it today. And I feel good because now it's working. Because I'm fulfilled. My mind isn't clogged, guys. You can use things like cannabis or whatever it is that you use. Some people like to drink wine, whatever. Just remember, if you have things that are plaguing your heart and plaguing your mind, they're gonna be there. You can silence them. You can maybe turn them down, but they're always gonna be there. Don't try to let them die with you. Confront them. Face them. It's what it is to be a human being. It's what it is to have courage. Look at the things that make you the most uncomfortable. You know what makes me really uncomfortable right now? The thought of sparring a human being in Muay Thai. But I'm getting to that place where it's coming very soon. And I'm terrified, but I can't wait to do it. And why? Because I watch other fighters do it and they talk about being terrified too. So I've been terrified my whole life to do things. And I don't want to be terrified anymore. So guess what? If I go in there and I put the boxing glove, I put the gloves on, I put the headgear on and the shin pads on, worst case scenario, I go in there and get knocked the fuck out, $1 million baby style, whack, almost like Rose, crack my fucking neck, I can never walk again, right? That's worst case scenario, or I fucking die. It's worst case scenario. Psst. I can say I didn't die being afraid to do shit. Now again, more than likely, none of that's going to happen. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to get roughed up a little bit, and I'm going to be fine. But for somebody like me who is so active mentally and is a very anxious person at times, a lot of the time, that's the way that my mind works. And I battle against that every day. So don't feel alone if you're that way as well. Constant self-doubt, just you don't believe that you're capable of doing the things you see great people do. You look at that person and go, that takes something else. That takes something I don't have. And honestly, the only thing it is that person was willing to suck at it for a while. And I'm willing to suck at Muay Thai for a while. And guess what? This is the first time I've ever said in my MMA kind of training, there might come a point when I want to take a Muay Thai competition or a kickboxing competition. There might. I like this. I love doing this. I have a strong passion to do this. I'm 27. I'm kind of older. But again, it's just one of those things where, dude, you keep life honest. You be real with where you're at. And if people in your life need to check you, have those people available. So for me, if I talk this way and my wife was like, if she was to say like, hon, I think you might be getting a little carried away. Okay, that's something to be considered in that. Like she did with the cannabis. So then what I did is sat down, figured it out. Now I realized if I go out and do the things I need to do in my day and do the responsibilities first, then my mind's not so sludged up because of stress and guilt of the things I should have done besides sitting here smoking or editing video. Now it's working. I feel better. I'm getting things done. I'm back to being accomplished and I'm back to being clear, level-headed, not so high or so low or whatever, just right where I need to be functional and operational on a healthy level where I'm able to grow, learn, process new information, and retain new information. That's all kind of what I'm looking at. Trying to get better with my health. You know, you guys, if you're following the Instagram at Cam Williamson Official, you're probably watching that I'm trying these kicks, man. I'm really trying to get this fucking hip over. In Muay Thai, I've just been sitting everywhere I can and just throwing this hip over because I couldn't figure it out, and it wasn't until I really realized what they meant. So you guys can't hear me if you're just listening to me on the audio, but if you can see me, you still probably can't see me very well because I'm kind of from the nipple line up. But when you throw a kick, right, the other thing, put my hand up when I throw. When you throw a kick, you step kind of off to the side, and you're up on your toe, and then you thrust your hip forwards, kind of like you're making love or whatever, or you're fucking. And then when you throw your hip, when you throw that leg, you do a windshield motion here to start the rotation. So you're throwing with your whole body. You're ha! And you're throwing. Well, I'm trying to think which way your head's going. You're going here, like that. And when you throw, you're turning that hip over like that. I know I fell out of frame. You can't see, but your hip is going from straight up and down like this, turning that hip over. It's just it's a weird thing to do, is to just ha! Throw that hip over. And then also, it's an okay thing to do to whip your head like that. That's the way it goes. Yeah, like that. They'll tell you to whip it like that. For me, not training martial arts as a young child and then now doing it as an adult, that's weird because everything I ever did, football, like when I threw a football, I was always a quarterback. When you throw, you like follow through, you watch it, you watch to get to the receiver. When you're playing pitching, you know, you follow through, you watch it all the way when you release into the catcher's glove. Same thing, baseball. You keep your eye on the ball. Everything's that way. In Muay Thai, when you throw, fuck all that. Throw it. Whack! And back. Get it up there. The faster you throw it, fuck that. You'll worry about getting hit. I mean, keep your hand up there and you'll get it. New concept. So it's more of a carefree, loose. I like MMA because it's more your own style. You can be free and real with it. You know, if you're back, not really doing anything for a second, you put your hands down and rest. I have a bad habit of putting my hands down. But I do it, I think, more because I've seen a lot of guys do it. I emulate a lot of styles in sports. I always have. When I batted, when I was playing baseball, when I was up to bat, I would do the same kind of timing movement as Adam Dunn. He would kind of bounce that top toe and circle his bat above his head. I would always do that same because that's how I learned to time, because I watched Adam Dunn do it. And it's like when people learn languages by watching American television. You just watch them, you learn how to do it. Now, it's not that simple in most things, but I've learned a lot in Muay Thai just by studying videos. And let that be an encouragement to you. If you guys have stuff out there you want to watch, but you're not yet ready to either hit the gym or fucking go to a Muay Thai session or whatever, fucking watch the stuff on YouTube and see. It's pretty. Everything starts, especially in mixed martial arts, everything starts from a foundational place anyway, where it's probably cool for you to just be in your living room, seriously, just kind of coming up on the ball of that toe, thrusting forward, throwing that hip over, never even really throwing a kick. I mean, hell, you could probably do that for a week. And then go, now try to do it on the back. All right, now we're, okay, seeing that when I connect, I'm not turning that hip over. Now you're working. Now you go into the gym with a focus, a determination, a reason to be there, a reason to get better that day. Hey, that changes the reason to be there. So, guys, hey, welcome to a fucking Sunday night. Welcome back to the Road to Redemption podcast, man. I hope you guys feel like we're back, because I do. I had a great fucking podcast. We got so many notes for you. We got episodes for days because I've been doing nothing but sitting around thinking, trying to collaborate for you guys and just bring you the best content that I can. I got to fix this whole setup. I don't know what you guys can see. I don't even know if the camera's still rolling. It's weird to be doing this by myself again. My mic stand snapped, so actually technically right below me there's a chair laying over on its side. But like that way, and this is being held up. It's being clipped like how I used to have it to the desk. It's here. So I got to figure that out here in the next week. I'm still only doing one episode a week now, so Sunday nights you guys should see it. So welcome to your Monday morning. I hope you guys all had a lovely Mother's Day. I hope you guys all know how much I love you. I appreciate you being here. Please go follow me at Cam Williamson Official on Instagram. This is the Road to Redemption podcast. You can find it on all platforms for podcasting, except for I don't think we're on Libsyn anymore. Nobody was listening on it, so I canceled it. We're on all other platforms, and if you want to watch our video version that I've been working pretty hard on to bring it to where it looks good and the presentation's really nice. I don't really have a way to switch angles yet, but we are working on that. Check that out. My name is Cam Williamson Official on YouTube. You can find me on there pretty easy, and I'm going to try to start making it to where it's easier to find me. Just when you Google me, you should be able to find all my stuff. I'm going to start working on my own SEO work, which is just pretty much when somebody Googles you, what are they going to find? I want to work on that. It's kind of something I was telling Nate, and it's something I need to apply to myself. So that's something I want to hold myself accountable to. If you guys want to hold yourselves accountable, oh, hold on. We do have listener submissions, so let me get to those real quick. If you have stuff you want to hold yourself accountable to, please write me in, and if you want me to say your name on the show, I will, and if you don't, I won't. And I apologize, when I listened back to the advertisements, it sounded like I was a little nasally. I hope I still don't sound that way. It doesn't sound that way to me, but I don't know. Okay, how to take major losses in life. Losing your house or losing a loved one. Don't read my name. Okay, so I'm not going to read their name. How to deal with a major loss in life. Well, I've talked about this many, many times. How to deal with a major loss in life. You have to first acknowledge that it happened. It's your reality. You're not dreaming. Pinch yourself. Here you are, right? Reality is you didn't cover the mortgage. They are coming to take your house. What's the first thing you can do? Well, start packing, right? It's the first thing you can do. Active energy towards a positive thing, which is getting the result of getting the fuck out of this house before the police come and make it more of a scene for you and your kids. Start packing. Then, you and whoever your life partner is, you fucking talk about it. What are we going to do? Alright, we can stay with my parents. We can't stay here. Hey, we're staying in the park. Okay, then guess what? You are going to stay awake for 8 hours. I'm going to sleep because I have to be at work tomorrow. Then when it's time for you to wake up and go to work, I'll watch, I'll stay up and make sure our family's safe. Guard watch, right? If you're completely homeless, sleeping at the fucking bus stop, somebody's pulling fucking guard watch, right? That's the way it's going to work, at least in my family. Somebody's pulling. I don't even fuck if it's the baby. Somebody's staying awake to make sure we don't get robbed. And I mean, you figure it out. So that's all you can do. The one thing you don't do, the one thing you never do in a time of crisis, whether it be a loss of a loved one, which we've dealt with plenty in my family, you don't sit around feeling bad for yourself, and you damn sure don't sit around feeling bad for somebody that you don't even know what they're going through. Because I was just watching the C.T. Fletcher interview on Joe Rogan, and C.T. said when he died, it was chill as fuck. He still talks about believing in God and whatever, but he said, I don't know what the afterlife is, but I can tell you it's comfortable, and I'm cool. And for somebody like C.T. to say something like that brings me a lot of peace about life. I still have a lot of hope and a lot of things I want to accomplish, but I'm not as afraid of going away from this world as I used to be. Because I truly believe with everything that I've done and all my efforts that whatever happens to me when my physical part of this stops, I feel like I still get to be around for my kids, and I feel like I still get to be around for my wife, and I feel like I still get to watch them, if they're still here. I feel like I still get to be a part of that because I'm trying so hard to just leave my imprint on them. That's why for me it was a really big deal a while back, well still currently, my ex-wife tries to convince my daughter that her last name is my ex-wife's maiden name, which it's not. Her name is my last name. So it really hurt me for a long time, because the one thing that I do, honestly, and this is just being very honest with you guys, the biggest reason that I do this show is I'm 27 years old. If I die tomorrow, I want to leave a diary of sorts for my kids to listen to, and they can know their dad from their dad's perspective. Now, they can listen to things that I say and the episodes that I've aired and the shows that I've done. And people, probably even people who don't care much for me, can then, when I'm long gone, go, yeah, he said this, but, and then the impression's made. But I can only do what I can do. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, as well as you probably should, Cam, you're investing your entire life in worrying about what other people might think or feel about you. It's true, to a sense. Nobody will ever be more important to me than my kids and my wife. Just hands down, never going to happen. Nobody will ever, no, it's not going to happen. There's really no reason to explain it further. You just got to find a balance. You got to find a balance with it all, man. Because, like, with my family, that was a big part of why I stepped away for a while. I knew that I had a 6-month-old baby that I hadn't got to spend a whole lot of time with. I was really just spending time with her for like an hour after we would get off work and before my wife would get home. And then I'm in my studio smoking and editing videos. I was being a deadbeat fucking dad, and it was like, I'm not about to do this twice. Not for this angel baby, that I'm talking about. My angel baby is my daughter. Like, that's I prayed for her because I know what it felt like to lose the feeling of love from your daughter. I had to regain that with my oldest. I have it now, but I had to regain her trust and her love and her certification that I am her dad. I knew that I would never try to fuck that up with my daughter and my youngest because I, again, work so hard. But now I put myself in a corner where I was working so hard for them that I wasn't around to see them and see their life happen. I saw them more, honestly, through security camera footages, because when I'm in here watching or editing video or whatever, I'm usually watching baby camera footage or the security camera that's in my living room. I'm watching them to make sure they're okay and just try to be a part of it. I mean, honestly, just kind of watch in while I'm doing it. And that's something I was like, yeah, this is a problem and this needs to be addressed. So yeah, that's kind of been where I'm at, but again, I'm in the best place I feel like that I can be currently. I feel like I'm getting better every single day. I feel like I'm improving. I feel like I'm being real with myself. I got to a good place with the cannabis now where I'm using it after I've earned it and it's working again. I use it much, much, much less. So yeah, I mean, that's where we're at with it. Man, I hope you guys will go and pay attention and support our sponsors, guys. That's important. I know you guys may not care, but that's one thing you guys have to realize with these shows is with those ads that you do skip over, that they're investing in the show that you like to try to keep it on the air for you. So please go support them because they're supporting you and trying to keep a show that you value on the air. If you didn't value it, they wouldn't even pick us up because they would see what the listeners are when they sponsor the show. So guys, please go support them. And again, if you have trouble finding a way to apply it to your life, give me a shout. I'll find a way, guarantee, whether it be CBD or the Busy Baby Matt currently. You can always support good people and find good products to either give to a family member or whatever. So that's going to be it, guys. Please go subscribe. Road to Redemption Podcast, Cam Williamson Official everywhere else. Love you guys. We're out.